Good afternoon and welcome to this week's reading. This week we're going to be looking at a different way that truth comes through in the moment. And so I kind of have the umbrella idea of when we experience the spontaneous expression of truth in the present moment, what embodied sensations lead to an aligned action? And when I was putting this one together, I was thinking a lot of, like the doubt that comes, like when we get these revelations and these kind of intuitive hits in the moment, in the present, and there's this pressingness, there can be a wanting to doubt it, to question it. And so learning how those present moments, how the body, how the emotions, how our energy systems can be like indicators that there's no need to question, there's no need to doubt, follow, right? Like be in alignment and just allow yourself to follow it. So there's many times when we feel the need to say or do something. And in these moments, there may be doubt around the actions we feel compelled to do and the words that just pop out of our mouths. When we take the time to feel what is happening in our bodies, that's when we can begin to see our patterns and indicators of alignment and truth. There's a lot of dialogue around being present in the moment, right? Like everybody tells you, we need to be more present, we need to be more present. But what I find is that there is very little discussion around how being present in the moment feels, and it informs differently than simply by being present, because there's a lot of talk about, just be present. So listen, sometimes they have activities of being present, right? Like five things that you see, three things that you hear. But the thing is there's a whole different system in our body that kicks on when we're present. And it's fine, to be present, but to understand how our truth, how our alignment comes out when we're present. That's, I think, the piece that is often overlooked. So our bodies, our emotions, and energy systems experience our existence differently from how our mind does. So when we take the mind out of the equation, we can step into a deeper level of trust that requires no answers, no explanations, and above all, no justifications. So learning to let go is one of the most challenging and the most powerful lessons to learn. When we feel present, we can drop the doubt and we can step into trust. So that's really kind of where I thought that this reading would kind of start from. So the purpose for today's reading is to see how the body informs your alignment with the present moment. And when I say the body, I mean the actual physical body, the emotional body that we have, and as well as our energetic body, right? Like, so it's basically taking the brain out and instead of trying to think our way through, we're looking more at really feeling our way through and noticing where the feelings are coming from, right? Like, are they coming from an itchiness in the skin? Are they coming from a bit of a butterfly in the stomach? Or are they coming from a tear suddenly just kind of rolling down your cheek? And so the question that I'm going to shuffle into the cards right now is, what physical, emotional, or energetic experiences are you being asked to observe and notice in the moment? So we're really looking at being in the moment, which I always found was interesting because to be in the moment is near impossible because by the time you say moment, it's gone, right? So it is really almost impossible to live in the actual present moment because by the time you are aware of the present moment, it is the past. So that's just my little musing. So, what physical, emotional, or energetic experiences are you being asked to observe and notice in the moment? Right? And pick our cards. So this is actually a pretty good example of being in the moment and allowing that to trust. So when I pick the cards, what I do is I take my deck and I split it into three piles. And then I put my hand over each pile And with my eyes closed, I just feel. And as soon as I have a body shake, that's the pile that goes back on top when I put the deck back together. And that's something that I have learned from being in the moment with this process. And that's kind of what we're getting at with this reading. So for the position meanings, this one is a little bit different in the sense that all the positions that are included into this reading all come from the same root of in this moment, right? So all the questions are going to be based around in this moment. And the first one is, what are you being asked to be present for? So in this moment right now, what are you being asked to be present for? And here we have the Knight of Coins. So you're being asked to be present to something physical that you're being kind of encouraged through your body, through your sensations to do. And one of the interesting things about this is because the Knight of Coins is a physical card, right? It represents the earth. And so we're looking at the material, the tangible world, resources, the physical body, all of those kinds of things. Anything you can touch is connected to this card. But because it is a physical moving card, right? The knights rarely will sit still. They want to get going and they want to do things and they want to, in the literal sense, they want to fight for what it is that they believe in. And so with the Knight of Coins, what we're being asked to notice right now in the present moment is what part of you, because it is coins, what part of your body is having some kind of a reaction right now? Is your hand doing something? Because that means maybe you're being called to create something. Are your feet doing something? Maybe you're being called then to go somewhere or to take some kind of physical action. Is the physical body sensation that you're feeling, is it in your shoulders? Are your shoulders coming back? So then maybe you need to take some relaxation. Are your shoulders going up? Maybe you need to take some kind of action because there's something you're concerned about. It's very in the moment, right? So as you're kind of hearing this reading, tune in to what's going on in your body right now. And that's going to be an indication of what you're being asked to tend to in the physical way. And sometimes different parts of the body connect to different things, right? The lower back tends to be really connected, say, to finances and security. So if you're feeling some pain or some discomfort in there, what your body is telling you is there's something in your security, there's something in your structures around you, like your physical structures, that you want to be paying attention to and taking action on. So I think it's really interesting. There is a card in here that does look specifically at how the physical body speaks to you, but to see that in the present moment, the very first thing that's talking to us is our body, I think that's really something to pay attention to. So the next one asks, in this moment, what is being embodied? And so we already know that we're looking at the physical body for the sensations that are coming up, but now what is it that's actually being embodied? And here we have an interesting card, which is the Five of Swords. And what's really being embodied, and maybe what the present moment is drawing our attention to, is like the fights that we're kind of involved with. And I say fights, but we're looking at disagreements. We're looking at even to the level of ethical alignments and stuff like that. And the Five of Swords is very much attuned to, like, what are you willing to do in order to just prove that you're right? There's a bit of arrogance, there's a bit of egotistical kind of sense. And when you look at the face of the character on here and you look at, right, like the other two characters, they're walking away. And this one looks like I still want to fight. There's still something here I need to prove. And that's what is really kind of coming forward in the body is where are you feeling this tightness of there's still something I need to prove. There's still some way I am being misunderstood and I still need to fight in order to get this cleared up and to get like my due justice and everything. Because the thing is a lot of times when we hit this point, there is the opportunity for resolution. And if we're still stuck in those stories of I have to be right and there's no compromise and I'm going to do whatever I need to do, then you can end up in a situation where that tightness in the body just keeps going and going. Think of places in your body where you might have chronic pain or where there might be discomfort or sensations that, keep coming up around the same people, or when you have a conversation around a certain topic that come up. These are the places that the body is saying in the present moment, they're saying, this you need to pay attention to and you need to let it go. There's a different way to resolve it without having to sacrifice everything. And the one thing I want to point out with this card that's really important is that, you know, it's asking, are you willing to sacrifice yourself in order to, gain the upper hand? Because the way that the sword is being held, if somebody came up behind and pulled that sword, he'd lose those fingers, right? And so there's this idea of in this card of I'm going to do whatever it takes, even at the risk of hurting myself, which then goes back into this idea of chronic pain, chronic tension, even to the point, right? Like when you're looking at swords, it's a lot of mental things. So some of the things that end up happening with this is a lot of like, is it cortisone is the stress hormone? I think. So if you're really putting yourself under a lot of stress and you feel that you have to be defending yourself all the time, that's going to build up in the system as well. And that can really lead to chronic inflammation, which can lead to many, many different ailments that when you go to the doctor is unable to really diagnose because there's no understanding of where it's coming from or what it's really doing. And so the body is saying, pay attention to these things because these are the roots and these are the things that need to be cleared and need to be released. So in this moment, what is tuning the energetic resonance? So now we've looked at the body, but now we're going to go to the energetic level. And so in this moment, right, when we're being asked to really kind of pay attention to what the sensations, the immediate sensations are in our body right now, what are some of the chronic things that are coming up as well, or what are some of the things that where we're feeling tension and tightness? Now we're being asked, so what can be tuning this energetic resonance? And so here we have, which is interesting, we have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is tradition. The Hierophant is, to me, I always kind of look at the Hierophant as systems, right? So when you're looking at what's coming and how to be in alignment and what is it that the body and the energetics and the emotions are trying to tell us, what's really kind of coming down to is that we need to really pay attention to the systems that we're engaging with in the present time and how we're engaging with them. Because where I come from, we have universal health care. And one of the biggest things that's going on right now is that due to cuts and health demands and everything like that, there's huge waiting lists, right? Like there's like a procedure that I've been waiting for about 2 years now. And, just waiting and waiting and waiting. And the system itself is so broken, right? Like not even to go to the point of saying like when you walk into the hospitals, they're not as clean as you would expect them to be. They're not as well maintained as you would expect them to be. And so what we're being asked is, like, are we tuning to these broken systems and allowing them to imprint themselves on our energetics and on our body and how we interact with things? Or are we at the point where we're ready to challenge the status quo, right? So ask yourself, as you're sitting here and you're listening to this, what is your energy doing? Is your energy like really going, you know what? I need to expand. I need to do something. Or is your energy going, I need to curl in, I need to hide because it might be dangerous. There's something going on that's outside of me. And also asking yourself, like, does this feel like it's right? Does it feel like this is me? Because a lot of times when our energies get hijacked and they get tuned to broken systems and they get tuned to, the doctrine of fear and the doctrine of lack, then we're very easy to fall prey to those kinds of things. And then it makes sense that we're always in defense because we're always looking for the way to get, a leg up on someone else. And, like, so then we worry about what's the action that I'm going to take that's going to keep me in alignment without breaking with these traditions that seem to have all the power around me. So it's very interesting the real dichotomy that's kind of coming up here. So the next one we have is in this moment, what is shaping the emotional field? And the emotional field is the intuitive field, it's the relational field, it's even just our own emotions. And so what is it in this moment as we're going through this that's shaping what's going on here? And I find it interesting that we have the Ace of Swords here in a water position. And as the Ace of Swords, there's this breakthrough, right? And coming on the heels of the Hierophant, what might be shaping the emotional field right now for us is this idea of, wow, when I am involved with these systems, I feel like crap. And so there's got to be a different way. There's got to be a way forward. There's got to be a way through. Now, the Ace of Swords has the capacity as well to really bring a clarity level of cutting through all the red tape that's going on, of cutting through the mental chatter, right? And when I was first talking about this, I was saying that to be really present and to really feel the alignment and the attunement to what you're being asked to do and what's, ethical and in your values, it's important for you to be able to do what you do with confidence and courage. And the Ace of Swords grants that. It gives you the sword to be able to cut out all of that mental chatter and to really put a a a, a barrier or break or something between the embodied sensations, the emotional sensations, the like the energetic sensations, and what the mind is trying to make sense of. Because that's the big thing about being present is not about making sense. It's not about answers. It's about being and feeling and just knowing what feels right in the body. And so having the Ace of Swords in the water position of the spread is also saying that you're going to really get the clarity the more you feel into what you're not necessarily what you're thinking, but if you can really feel into the actions of the moment and allow yourself to say what needs to be said, allow yourself to express what is coming out without questioning, without filtering, then that's really going to be the way to unravel a lot of the conditioning that's around and really be able to step into that being present to be able to express whatever spontaneously needs to come out in that moment. And the last one we have is in this moment, what is seeking unfiltered expression? And I think it's interesting that we had the Ace of Swords right before this question came up, because the Ace of Swords is really going to be, I think, highlighting whatever the next card is, which is the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is really connecting to that innocence, that heart of hearts that we may have covered up, that we may have, put in a cave and locked up and put in a box. It's like one of those things where they say, like you take it and you put it in a box and you lock it up, and then you put that box in a safe, and then you take that safe and you drop it in the ocean to the bottom of the ocean, and you put a rock on top of it, right? Like it's all the things that we have done to protect that inner gooiness that we have. And so the Ace of Swords is coming out and saying, hey, you know what? It's time to really get clarity on what parts of ourselves we have barricaded away, blocked away, caged away, that have left us, you know, disconnected, judgmental, and really, really stuck in these conditioned stories within our heads. And it's important for us to be able to now to really start to reconnect with that other part of ourselves, that you can call it a spiritual side of yourself. You can call it the loving side of yourself, whatever. You can even call it your inner child, whatever it is. There is a part of us that as we have grown, as we have experienced all the things that we have taken, all of us have taken a part of ourselves and locked it away to protect it. But the thing is that in doing that, what it has done, it has enforced and supported like all of these systems that have led us to sacrifice just about anything we can sacrifice in order to maintain. And even though we talk about wanting to live big, wanting to live in the moment, we still end up remaining very small and very tight and very constricted in order to hide this part of ourselves, because that's the piece of us that if it comes out into light, that's what we're told is going to have us kicked out and pushed aside. And so now's the time, and this is where the action is coming in, right? Like, so the action here of the Knight of Coins is leading us to the opening up and the fully embodying of those pieces of ourselves that we have kind of tucked away. And no matter how much we try to forget about them, they will leak out. And if you look back over your life, you will see where they leak out. And where they leak out is when it's in those present moments of dropping your guard and allowing yourself to just whatever pops out your mouth will pop out. Whatever you feel, you act on. That's when you're really kind of allowing that piece of you to come out. And the more that we kind of give into that, we look back and we see that, the more we see that the box or the cave or the whatever has cracks in it, and it's been leaking out. And now it's time for us to really try to step into and embody that. So one of the things that's interesting about this spread is we ended up with like two sword cards. And you know, neither one of these have gone really beyond the five. And so even with the sword cards, we're still at that point where we're learning how to do this. This is not something that comes easily. It can come naturally, but it's still not something that comes easily because there's always something, you know, and I think the fact that the Hierophant sits in the middle of the spread is very telling as well, because everything seems to be pivoting around this idea that we have to fit into the systems, we have to fit into the structures, we have to do whatever we can in order to keep our place in these societal systems that when we look around, they're falling apart, right? So the question we're asking is, why do we fight so hard to stay in systems that are crumbling and falling apart instead of allowing those breakthrough, those ideas that allow us to embody these new ways? And they're not even necessarily new. They're just more in a line. They're more valued. They're more energetically and emotionally supportive of what's going on. They hold the potential of everything that could be. And, you know, we'll go back to this, that what is coming up is, what are you feeling right now? Because whatever sensation you have in your body right now is the indication to what is emerging for you. Don't think about it, just feel it. And so, with that, I hope that you really enjoyed this reading. I always find them to be fascinating, the cards that come up and where they position and the messages that they come across. So I really do hope that you got something out of this reading and that you will come back for another one. And in the meantime, take care. I wish you all the best, and I will see you around the webs.